What's good, guys? It's Kombat here at Infinite Rhythm Productions, and today we're going to go over another mix breakdown. This song in particular is Apologies from Seattle by John Mackk. You could catch it on his album All Around the Board, out now on Spotify, Apple Music, all that. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you a snippet right now.
Apologies from Seattle. Even if you don't know it, bet you matter. Know you mad and I ain't tryna make you mad. Ain't mean for this shit to go be others asking. I don't know.
Alright, dope. So personally, this is actually one of my favorite songs off the album. I love it, from the beat to the lyrics to how he wrote everything and it all came together. It was just dope. This is the hook right here. I'll kind of just play it out.
Apologies from Seattle. Even if you don't know it, bet you matter. Know you mad and I ain't tryna make you mad. Ain't.
So this is really common for John Mackk, but also with a lot of recording artists. We always add doubles, especially for the hooks. So a lot of the time, actually, I get my artists to do multiple layers on the hook. So whether it's 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. I know a lot of people like to just copy and paste the same vocal over and stack it on each other. I've never been a fan of that. I feel you. I see it. You know what I'm saying? In my own templates, I have that type of thing set up and I explain how you could do it. I'm not a fan of it personally. You know what I'm saying? I believe that if we get doubles, we should re-record those every time. It would just get different type of takes, a different feel, different. It's just dope. I feel like I like that sound better. And if I ever get trouble with the layers as far as timing and stuff goes, I make sure I use the Elastic Audio, the warp feature in Pro Tools, or I'll just use Vocal Line. One or the other works perfect. All right, so we got the hook right here. One thing that we did do different on the hook was we added these lows in here, and that's something that we kind of like, we'll go back and forth to a lot. Like John Mackk, he'll be over here recording. We'll kind of just go back and forth on, okay, like maybe I could do the hook like this, and I'll be like, yeah, it's a dope melody. Maybe you can switch it up like this, or maybe you could add some more over here. You know, we're just always going back and forth. I always try to make sure I'm in his head and really just try to see what he's trying to really portray out of this song. But the whole thing was the second half, I was like, we could add something more. So I was like, what happens if you do a lower harmony on the bottom? And we did that. I'll play it out.
Mad and I ain't tryna make you mad. Ain't mean for this shit to go be others asking. I don't know.
So I kind of just solo those out so you guys can hear that.
Mad and I don't know.
Yeah, so it just adds an extra oomph to the song. You know what I'm saying? It just sounds so much better. And then let's go into the verse. The verse is pretty simple as well. We just did a couple punch-ins, as you guys can see. Just a normal double there, and then we did our ad-libs right here. And then it was just hook, another verse, and then hook. It was really simple. So let me go over now the plugins on the track. So I'll kind of go over that. Now, since I've engineered this song, my plugins have changed a lot. So I don't really use the same stuff anymore. But for this track, I want to kind of just show you guys what I did for this. So over here, alright, so for our first plugin right here, we have Vocal Rider. This is on the main vocal track. I like to use Vocal Rider. I personally don't use it anymore, but for this track, I like to use it. It just kind of, all the vocals were already very even. I run like an inboard compressor on my Apollo Twin that kind of just compresses everything as it goes. So I did get a pretty good compression already coming in, good dynamics, but this kind of helps just even it out a little bit. So I'll show you.
Apologies from Seattle. Even if you don't know it, bet you matter. Know you mad and I ain't tryna make you.
So as you guys can see, it really helped with this transients. After that, we have the channel strip. Channel strip, I just use a very basic preset. I just have my ratio super low. I have a very light compressor. And then I also have this EQ down here. It just raises up my highs, kind of cuts out my lows. That's all it's doing right here.
Apologies.
After that, I have a Fab Filter compressor. Again, it's very simple. I'll play it out.
Apologies.
I don't even have it at 2 ratio. It's at 166. I have higher attack, lesser release. And yeah, just very light compressor right there. I just like the Fab Filter sound. I want that clean compressor sound. I also have this virtual mix rack by Slate Digital. It's because I use the ML1 by Slate Digital. So this right here is the mic that I use. I use the classic FG67. I use some of the Revival with the shimmer and some thickness right here. So you guys kind of see I have all of this running from the Vocal Rider, the channel strip, the compressor, and the virtual mix rack. I have all that going first before it's even going into my vocal sub. And I actually do have auto tune as well. I have about reaching speed at 14, humanize at 100. We try to keep him as natural as possible. And then I also have the CLA vocals. Now for CLA vocals, I personally don't use this anymore as much, but I do like it a lot. It just kind of adds clarity and separation from the vocal to the beat. So I'll kind of play this out.
Apologies from Seattle.
I pretty much use it for this bass feature and this pitch feature. The stereo kind of gives it a little bit of a spread, and the bass feature gives me just kind of a little bit more control of the low end. So I'll play it.
Apologies from Seattle. Even if you don't know it, bet you matter. Know you mad and I ain't trying to make you mad. Ain't mean for this shit.
So I could add more bass to it. I could lower the bass to the vocals, whatever it is. I really like that plugin. So let's just go through the vocal sub now. For this vocal sub, I have all my vocals going through to this right now, like all of them. So I'm gonna start with this first plugin. I'm gonna start with the Abbey Road mastering chain. This is one of my favorites to add clarity. Right here, I go right over to, I go to this Chad Olick preset and I hit PS vocal. Now, it's really intense when you first put it on, but then I lessen it, so I lower all of these knobs right here. But it just adds a lot of clarity to it. So I'll show you before and after.
Apologies
Before,
from Seattle. Even if you don't know it, bet you matter. Know you mad and I ain't trying to make.
After that, I would add this UAD Empirical Labs, the Fatso Senior. I'm not really sure the company. This is UAD right here, but I like it because it adds a lot of warmth to the vocals. We have this warm feature right here, this compressor feature right here, as well as these compressor controls from threshold to your attack and release. I always adjust those just according to what sounds the best. So I'll just play this out.
Apologies from Seattle. Even if you don't know it, bet you matter.
So it kind of glues the vocals a little bit better together, as well as getting your highs and lows. It's just a really good glue for your vocals. Next, I'll add a de-esser. I'm using the Fab Filter de-esser.
Apologies from Seattle. Even if you don't know it, bet you matter.
It's one of my favorite de-essers out there. We have Pro Q3. This is Fab Filter right here. Very basic subtractive EQ, and as you guys see, I just controlled my lows a little bit better and took out some of my highs that were like a little too hissy, a little too crisp.
Apologies from Seattle. Even if you don't know it, bet you matter. Know you mad and I ain't trying to make you mad. Ain't mean for this shit to go be a disaster.
Dope. Let's go to the next part. So here we have the mainly passive EQ. We're not able to use it right now because it's disabled because I'm using the other UAD for the recording like I mentioned. So let's just go straight to the multi-band compressor. I'm using the Fab Filter multi-band compressor right here. I'll play it out.
Apologies from Seattle. Even if you don't know it, bet you matter.
So what I use this multi-band compressor for is I use it to kind of control the lows a little bit more, and then I also like to use it for the highs as well. Sometimes, a lot of the time when we take out a lot of those lows or control all the lows, our highs get hissy, or it brings out a lot of those highs too much, and I just wanted to have a little more control. So I just lowered this a little bit and just had it compress.
Apologies from Seattle. Even if you don't.
So after the multi-band compressor, I want to use another EQ. I use the Q10 over here, and I use this specifically for surgical EQ, like very, very precise points.
Apologies from Seattle. Even if you don't know it, bet you matter.
This is one of my other favorite plugins right here. It's the Uad Stutter 800. It's really, really dope plugin. It just adds like this tape sound to your vocals, really compresses everything together. I don't go too crazy on it, just enough.
Apologies from Seattle. Even if you don't know it, bet you matter.
You guys hear that difference, just that clarity really comes out. And then I add another EQ right here just to add some very light subtractive EQ.
Apologies from Seattle. Even if you don't know it, bet you matter.
And then last thing I add is some syllabants to this. Syllabants just kind of helps with the extra little S's or anything. I really trying to make sure, like, as I bring up these highs, I'm not getting any type of hissing, anything to mess with the clarity. You know what I'm saying? So I like to use this one right here.
Apologies from Seattle. Even if you don't know it, bet you matter. Know you mad and I ain't trying to make you mad. Ain't mean for this shit to go be a disaster.
Dope. And then another thing is, because we don't have beat stems for this track, we can mix the vocals in with all the beat stems and everything. I went ahead and used Ozone 9 over here, and I do the master assistant. I allow it to play through the beat, so it does like a nice little EQ. I'll adjust that EQ after it's done. Same thing with the dynamic EQ. I might adjust it a little bit. I like what it did there. But the main important thing I do is I add an imager to the beat. Now, I'll explain why this is so important. Adding an imager to your 2-track beat. So when you have your beat stems, you're able to put your claps, your hi-hats, your snares, your melodies. If you have like 3 or 4 different melodies, you could give it its own space, give it its own thing. But with a 2-track, you really can't. With a 2-track, it's just that beat. You got to mix in with those vocals. That's it. Good luck. You know what I'm saying? With this imager here, it gives us a fighting chance. So we're able to pick different frequencies on the spectrum right here. And we're able to put how much of a bandwidth we want on that. So for the highs, I like to go pretty up here because I want more of a stereo width spread, as you guys can see with these dots right here. For the lows, I want more of a mono feel because we want the bass and everything to be more up front. We want the melodies, hi-hats, and percussion to be more to the side to give space for the vocals. So over here, we have the stereoized button right here. I usually always have it clicked and I always move this up and I always make sure it's on mode 2. Personally, me, I feel like when it's on mode 2, it's more transparent. It's not like you can't hear the full width as much as the number 1. That's just me personally. And I'll do that and it'll just kind of give it more space.
Apologies from Seattle. Even if you don't know it, bet you matter. I know you mad and I ain't trying to make you mad. Ain't mean for this shit to go be others asking.
Yeah, then other than that, pretty much in the beginning of the song, we just added this voicemail.
I'm kind of glad you didn't pick up.
And to give it that voicemail effect, I shall show you guys right here. So when you guys have like a voicemail, artist tells you, hey, we want to add like this voicemail in the song, this and that. You don't just have to just put the voicemail and just leave it like that. You could mess with a little. So over here, I have Deverb open at 38%, my decay at 4.7. Just play that out just alone.
Hey, I'm kind of glad you didn't pick up.
And that's just dope. But the only issue is it's low. You know, it's really low from the reverb. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the limiter. Boom. I'm going to play that out.
Hey.
You guys hear that?
Kind of glad you didn't pick up. I kind of just called to hear.
There you go. And that's how you get like that Drake voicemail type of effect on there. So that pretty much concludes our tutorial. This is Apologies in Seattle by John Mackk. Like, again, I love this song. It's a really dope song. And it's funny because the mix is really simple. Not too much went into this one. And I just wanted to show you guys that you don't need to go and do all this other shit all the time. You don't need to add drops every song. And like, no, it's like sometimes the beat's perfect, the vocals are perfect, everything's great. Just give it that clarity and let it go. You know, just let it go. I hope you guys learned something. And again, please like, comment, and subscribe because that helps me out so I can help you guys out. Let's get it.